Okay, so good afternoon to all the participants for today's webinar entitled Values for K-12 Pre-Service Teachers, a lecture series, sponsored by Laguna State Polytechnic University, Santa Cruz Main Campus, in collaboration with LSPU Liliw Extension, the College of Teacher Education, through the effort of Bachelor of Elementary Education program headed by Dr. Henley F. Martirez. And also, we would like to acknowledge first the support of these people in making this webinar possible. Dr. Mario Arbriones, the University President, Dr. Eden Calio, Vice President for Academic Affairs, Engineer Manuel Luis Alvarez, Campus Director, Santa Cruz Campus, Dr. Florida V. Pamatmat, Dean of the College of Teacher Education, Santa Cruz Campus, through the initiative of Dr. Henley F. Martirez, BE-Ed Program Coordinator, Santa Cruz Main Campus. I am Ms. Monteron, your MC for today. To officially begin this program, a short prayer will be flashed through a video presentation to be followed by the national anthem and LSPU hymn.
Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to meet together. Please help us to come together to make this institution reflect your kingdom. Breathe life into our ideas and decisions. Help us build a team that has love and respect at its heart. Give us the strength to continue working for your kingdom in this time of pandemic. Lord, come give us the inspiration to be the best we can be. May we be a shining example of your goodness and truth within, wherever we are. Inspire our thoughts, discussions, and ideas, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth for the greater glory of you. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, pero sa sinananan, alam ng puso, sa titik ko'y bukay. Upang pinirang, kuyaga ng magiting, sa mandudupin, di ka masisigiw, sa nagatang tutok sa simula, sa langit mong pagkaw, ay hinatang mula kawin sa pagkayang inamahal. Ang isang ng pagkawat ko'y nagbukay na naghihindig, ang ituwin at araw niya kay nagpamay di maghihindig. Lupa ng araw ng buwan, aking pagsingkaw, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng kay mga aking, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. Mga
to serve our people, we'll do the best we can for our loved ones and our country. Proclaim free, all the rest LSPU, our guiding star to success. Holy LSPU, our guiding star to success.
Okay, so once again, good afternoon and welcome, CTE faculty, BEd students with the special participation of BT-led and BTVTED students to this webinar on Values for K-12 Pre-Service Teachers, a lecture series episode 1. Hashtag Peer Pick for Edu students. Okay, so Peer Pick stands for the following. P stands for professionalism. E stands for enthusiastic and positive education. E stands for exhibit emotional intelligence. R reflects on one's own teaching and learning. P professional appearance. E exhibit an appreciation and value for diversity. E effective written and oral communication skill. And C collaborates effectively with peers, professor, parents, and to the students' personal steps to effective collaboration. Okay, so our dear CTE students, please don't forget to comment your name, course, and campus, and please use our official hashtag, hashtag #PeerPickForEducStudents, and also kindly share the link to your wall in Facebook. Okay, so just to give you an overview of the objectives of this project, Peer Pick, okay, so this project aims to develop and apply the concepts of 21st century skills, its desirable characteristics in the teaching and learning competencies to cultivate a culture of excellence, professionalism, and values enhancement among pre-service teachers. Okay, so now this time, to give her opening remarks, may I call on the Dean of the College of Teacher Education, LSPU Santa Cruz Campus, no other than Dr. Florida V. Pamatmat.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to my dear colleagues. And I would like to acknowledge first the presence of Dr. Henley Martirez, my colleagues from Liliw and from Santa Cruz campus. So, my dear students, we are facilitating this seminar series to help develop you into becoming knowledgeable, well trained, flexible, adaptable, and ready for the changes of the new normal. And the sudden changes, uh, you need to acquire skills in the sudden changes of the new normal, and you have to acquire the significant skills of a 21st century teachers. To Dr. Henley, who initiated these worthwhile undertakings, thank you and congratulations for your leadership. To Mamides, who is with us this afternoon, Sir Gia, and all the BE-Ed faculty from Santa Cruz and Liliw, maraming salamat. The technical working group is very commendable. Congratulations and thank you so much. To all our BE-Ed students, ito ay para sa inyo. We wish you all a stunning success in the future and in the new normal. God bless. Good evening or good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Florida V. Pamatmat, for a warm greeting for this webinar. Surely our students will be very much motivated and determined to be a great teacher equipped with the skills of a 21st century teacher. Okay, now this time, to give her inspirational message, may I call on Dr. Henley F. Martirez, the B.Ed Program Coordinator of LSPU Santa Cruz Campus and Liliw Extension. Dr. Henley, ma'am, excuse po, ma'am. Ma'am, nakamute po kayo.
Oh my
Thank you
God.
po. Apa. Thank you, ma'am.
So good afternoon to each and everyone. Of course, to our university president, Dr. Mario Arbiones, sir. To our vice president for academic affairs, Dr. Eden Calio. And of course, our campus director, Engineer Alvarez. And my beautiful dean of the College of Teacher Education, Dr. Florhide Vipamatmat. The BEd team of LSPU campus and Liliu, to our students and our guests, and of course our viewer. Good afternoon to all of you. It is an indeed an honor and privilege to welcome each one to this momentous event, live streaming seminar on values for pre or K-12 pre-service teacher, a lecture series. The objective of this seminar is to help our students develop and apply the concept of 21st century skills, its desirable characteristics and attributes in the teaching and learning competencies to cultivate a culture of excellence, professionalism, and values enhancement among the pre-service teacher. This seminar is one of its kind that serves as an equalizer between the students and the teacher. A well known futurist once stated in his book, "The future shock that the illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn and relearn." This seminar is an indication of our desire to transform our learners, our students, equipped with the 21st century skills, refer to as building blocks for learning. We need to survive and thrive in an unceasingly competitive and global landscape, at the same time collaborates with others. It's nice to see group of educators and would be teachers coming from north down to the south, collaborating and reflecting our own ways of thinking, ways of working, and ways of living in the world of global citizens despite of pandemic. According to Tuner, in the 21st century, the bottom line is that relationships are all that matters. It is no longer about prescriptive outcomes, but rather about building capacity in ourselves and then being able to contextualize the collective wisdom we gain through those relationships to making the world a better place to live. Let us open this seminar by opening our eyes to the beauty of each one of us. Open our ears to listen attentively to our speakers. Don't miss any moment to learn and relearn. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Martirez, for a very inspiring and uplifting message for our students. Okay, so this time, we will proceed with the lecture proper. So, Ma'am Jessica will not be able to attend here, and it is my honor to introduce the first speaker for today's lecture. Okay, so but before that, our first two speaker will discuss the two acronym of the peer pick. Okay, so they will focus on R, reflects on one's own teaching and learning, and also E, effective written and oral communication skill. Okay. So to introduce the first speaker for today's lecture, it is my pleasure to introduce her. Okay, so she is a secondary English teacher and academic coordinator in St. Mary's Academy of Nagcarlan for 21 years. Now she is in her fourth year in Alaminos Integrated National High School as senior high school English teacher and at the same time senior high school coordinator and a part-time instructor in LSPU Liliw Extension class. Now, may I call on Mrs. Maida o Sarmiento?
Okay, thank you very much, Ma'am Leia, for that introduction. Okay, so I'd like to share my thoughts and ideas about this a very good program that has been created, and I think it is still undergoing enhancement. It is a very timely program that will benefit all CTE students. Okay, so I'm going to talk about, as Ma'am Leia had mentioned, this lecture is about this peer pick, and I'm going to discuss one of each indicator, which is reflection. So this is under our this webinar team, values for K to 12 pre-service teacher. So I am Mrs. Maida O. Sarmiento once again from LSPU Liliw Extension class. Okay, so my objective, the objective of this short talk of mine, is to promote a reflective practice in pre-service teacher education program for effective teaching learning in a school context. Okay, so I'm just going to elaborate that particular indicator, which is the reflection, which is reflection. Now, in my talk, there will be some questions that I'm going to ask. So, all of you students are encouraged to answer the question. You can use the comment the comment box in your cell phone or in your laptop or in your iPod. You can type there your answer, and our technical working group will surely get your answer, and it can be flashed here on the screen. Now, my first question is, because going back to the title that I have been presented, I'm going to talk about those keywords, no, before we proceed in that particular indicator, which is reflection. Okay, so what is who are the pre-service teacher? Sino ba tong mga pre-service teacher na ito? Sino kaya yung tinutukoy nila na pre-service or pre-service teacher? Kasi the theme of our webinar is the values for K to 12 pre-service teachers. And who are these people? Sino ba sila? Okay, who are these pre-service teacher? Okay, let me see. Meron bang sumasagot? Meron bang nag-flash nag-answer nila in the screen? Okay, so can we proceed to the next slide, ma'am? Okay, so the pre-service teacher, sige, isave ninyo yung sagot ninyo kung hindi nyo na-encode. But let's see if your answers are here in this group of phrases. Okay, so those who are in the teacher education program and those who are pursuing teaching certification or teaching profession, those who are pursuing teaching license, and they are the students who undergo training from higher education institution to become a professional teachers. So they are these pre-service teachers. And I think all of you are qualified in these following descriptions. And those who are watching, those students who are watching our webinar, this webinar, are all pre-service teacher. Okay, next slide. Okay. Now, when I was given the topic of this webinar, I look for additional readings that I may share. So I came back with this. It is a research entitled In This Spirit, Helping Pre-Service Teacher Thrive During uh, Pandemic Time in Adaptations of Change. Now, I have seen this line, new times demand new methods. And it was mentioned by our respected dean that in this time of pandemic, no, you are in these tough times that we experience this kind of crisis, and we need to demand for the new methods. Okay, so but you are very fortunate, LSPU students are very fortunate, no, in this tough time, because they create experiences that the students, that you students can sustain that quality and high expectations that the department's program is giving you, no. I think to answer for for the readiness of you, for the things that must be given to you in preparation, looking forward for you will be a teacher sooner or later. This peak, this peer pick is very timely, as I have mentioned. But as I've said, this is still undergoing enhancement to really meet your needs for the appropriate uh, pre-service teachers in the new normal. So when you step in the portal of this university, you decided to be a teacher, di ba? Yung nag-enroll kayo sa CTE program, you decided to be a teacher. And then the school was mandated, no, that this course, no, will really prepare you to meet the needs, even whatever situations that we are facing, just for the education to be continued. And as I quote to who for 1956, a school ought to be continually revisiting its method, bearing in the mind the complexity and stability of the real world. Okay? So kaya ang school talaga nagpi-prepare para kayong mga learners ay maihanda din namin. So it was mentioned, itong programang ito, yung peer pick na mention kanina ni Ma'am Leia, it is an acronym that stands for professionalism. That is P. E is enthusiastic and positive education. E, exhibit emotional intelligence. R is for reflects on one's teaching and learning. E is for exhibit and appreciation and value for diversity. E for effective written and oral communication skill. C for collaborates effectively with peers, professor, parents, and to the students' personal step to effective collaboration. So ito yung programa na binubuo at dinidevelop, ini-enhance para sa lahat ng CTE students. Okay? So, another line that I have read na gusto kong i-share. Ito, yung teaching to change the world and then it does. Okay, tayo ba naniniwala na teaching will really change the world? Nagustuhan ko lang yung line, no? Teaching to change the world and then it does. Okay? So, okay, next slide. Okay. So, I'd like to ask this question, but you don't need to answer it in the comment corner of your gadgets. Okay, you just have some reflection of it. Okay, so what does it mean to be a member of CTE learning community? You as a CTE student, what does it mean to be a member of that learning community? And what does it mean to be a learner? Kasi tayo lahat, learner tayo. Okay? So what does it mean to be in a teaching profession? Okay? So I want you to reflect on that, because these questions will all boils down into, next slide. Okay, to that question, which is what is teaching? Okay, so what is teaching? And we have always these answers. I think these answers are cliche because we are always giving this answer when we are asked, what is a teaching profession or what is teaching? So we can say that teaching is a vocation, teaching is a mission, or teaching is a noble profession. So whatever answers do we have, okay, just like this, teaching as a vocation. So pag sinabi natin na teaching is a vocation, it means it's a call. So there is a call. If there must be a caller and someone who is called. Ngayon, pag sinagot natin yan, the fact that you are now in LSPU College of Teaching Education, it signifies that you positively responded to the call to teach. So you are now answering that definition. Teaching is a vocation. Okay, because you are here, you answer the call already. And then teaching as a mission. You are called to be a teacher and you are sent into the world to accomplish a mission to teach. Because we must be clarified that what is that mission, and that mission is to teach. Teaching is your mission means it is the task entrusted to you in this world. Okay? If it is your assigned task, then you naturally have to prepare yourself for it. You have embarked in a mission that calls for a continuing professional education. So pag sinabi natin teaching is a mission, so it means that we need to prepare for it. Alam natin na yun yung mission natin. So during the pre-service, okay, pre-service, kinakailangan i-prepare natin yung ating sarili. Because first and foremost, alam natin kung saan tayo pupunta. We are in this department, so lahat tayo magiging teacher. Okay? So we must prepare ourselves for it. Okay. So teaching as a profession, it is our way of rendering no service to humanity. When we are done with all those academic requirements, you are now ready to render service to humanity. Kaya nga, noble profession yan because we are rendering service to humanity. And the four elements of profession, which are as follows: our long and arduous period of preparation. Okay? Nung nasa college pa, during the time, the pre-service, ang tagal, ang haba ng preparation. You keep on striving for excellence, no? Okay? A dedication to the public interest because we are doing that rendering of service for common good. Okay? The commitment to moral and ethical values. Okay. Now, this is what I really like. If we give professional quality service, then mediocrity has no place. If we live up to our name as a professional teacher, a meaningful and fulfilled life will not be far behind. Diba? Napakaganda. Okay? So if we're going to put them all together, teaching is a mission, is a vocation because it's a call, it's a mission, and it's a profession. It is the totality of giving ourselves to humanity, rendering that to humanity. Kaya sabi ko nga, that professional quality service, it really depends on how we are being prepared in in the institutions, no, in the higher education. Okay, so that is what teaching is. Okay, next. Now, okay, so I've mentioned already the teaching, and then this time I would like to mention values formation. Yan. Kasi himay-himayin muna natin before we proceed to reflection. Okay? So, do you believe that values are caught? Meron bang naniniwala na values are caught? Okay, for those who believe that values are caught, so you can, ano yung emoticon dyan, yung thumbs up, yung like. Sige nga, tingnan ko kung sino yung naniniwala na values are caught. Okay. And then, the next one is values are thought. Sino naman ang naniniwala na values are thought? Okay. So, yun namang smiley. Sige. Kung kayo ay dito sa values are thought, yun namang smiley. Okay. And then, if you believe both, okay, values are both caught and taught, so yung heart naman ang inyong pindutin niyo yung heart so that you believe that values are both caught and taught. Okay. So, in the book that I have read, it said that values are both caught and taught. Bakit kaya both caught and taught? Okay? Because values have cognitive, affective, and behavioral dimension. Okay? So, yung values kasi, hindi lang siya for affective domain. So, siya ay mayroong cognitive, affective, and behavioral dimension. Okay? Values have a cognitive dimension. Bakit? we must understand the value that we want to acquire. Dapat alam natin kung ano yung values na ina-acquire natin. Ano yung values na meron tayo. We need to know why we have to value such. And cognitive yun. Okay? Dapat alam natin, ano ba yung mga values na dapat meron tayo? Ano ba yung values na dapat ma-enhance natin? Because we should also remember that values can either be positive or negative. Okay. Now, values are in the affective domain of objectives kasi talagang nandun yon. In themselves, they have an affective dimension. 'Di ba? Kaya mahirap natin minsan pag gumagawa tayo ng objective, ang hirap gumawa ng affective. Kasi minsan it is not measurable. Okay? Because it is within. And how these things will be measurable? We as the help of the behavioral dimension. Kumukuha tayo doon sa behavioral dimension. In fact, living the value, this is the true acid test if we really value, like for example, honesty. We cannot say, di ba kaya ina-avoid natin yung mga words na appreciate kasi yung appreciate paano mo ma-measure yung appreciate kaya kinukuha pa rin natin yung mga behavioral terms na manifest honesty, demonstrate honesty, at least it is measurable. Okay, now we are talking about values, and it's we said that these are both caught and taught because they can be in the cognitive, affective, and behavioral dimension. Okay, another thing is, next slide, values formation is a training, no? It's a training of the intellect and will. Okay, so it is really your value formation in essence is a training of your intellect and will, your cognitive and the rational appetitive powers respectively. Your intellect discern a value and present it to the will as a right or wrong value. So, 'di ba? From our intellect, we must understand what kind of value are we inculcating to our student, or what kind of value that we are nourishing in ourselves, no? Because it is within. Kaya dapat alam natin, so that is from the intellect, and of course, no, it has that manifestation nung ano ba yung sinasabi nung will natin. And it should be put into action kasi kailangan may behavioral. Okay? Next slide. Now, so we discussed already what is who are the pre-service teacher, what is teaching, and what is okay, so yung values formation, because we must remember those things and we must understand those things to know more this what we mean by reflection. Okay? Kasi ano ba yung reflection? Paano ko ba gagawin yung reflection na yan? Okay? So it's said there by Jennifer Stanchfield, okay, who wrote The Value of Reflection. Reflection brings learning to life. Okay? So reflective practice help learners find relevancy and meaning in a lesson and make connection between educational experiences and real life situation. Okay. So kinakailangan napakahalaga ng reflection. Kasi sabi nga, it will brings learning to life. It will brings meaning to life. Because without reflection, we cannot see the connection between the theory and what is really happening in the real life situation. It increases insight and create pathways to future learning. So, reflection is called by many different names in education field, including processing, reviewing, and debriefing. Okay? So, yung reflection medyo malalim talaga. Okay? So, ito yung isang indicator doon sa peer pick natin, which is reflects on one's own teaching and learning. Okay. So, reflects on one's teaching and learning. Okay. Now, so what is that reflective practice? So, reflective practice creates ownership over learning by allowing people to internalize a lesson. Okay. So, this enhances the ability for participants to grow and change through their experiences and develop insight, one of the most important lifelong skills to acquire. So yung reflective practice, it means that ano, dapat ma-inculcate natin, yan, sabi kasi ma-internalize natin yung mga bagay na ginagawa natin. Because reflective practice has a connection also to evaluation, to assessment, because you need to evaluate yourself, or you need to assess the activity that you have done. Okay, so you internalize it. Okay, okay, next slide. Now, according to the Australian professional standards, no, for ensuring teacher professionalism and competence runs the risk of suggesting that a checklist of competency will suffice to improve practices. Okay. Yung pag meron tayong mga list of competencies, ito ba ay na-attain? Okay. So, pwede nating ma-evaluate yon. Nagawa ba natin yan? Ano yung learned competency natin? Ano yung missed competency natin? In this way, standards can act as outcomes rather than as participatory process that features reflection as a core component of developing teacher effectiveness. Because hindi lang tayo doon sa babase doon sa checklist, kasi after that checklist, kinakailangan, bakit kaya ganun yung result nung checklist na yon? So we need to do some reflection. Okay? So kaya hindi lang siya an act as outcomes, but it should be participatory. Kailangan may reflection. Okay? Kasi through that reflection, it will lead to teacher effectiveness. Okay? Next slide. Okay. Now, so I've looked for some research-based example on the importance of reflection. So I have read this research. I think I mentioned the author on the latter part of the slides. Okay. So in their study, based on what the teachers had witnessed of pre-service teachers during practicum experiences, the teacher reported that the pre-service teacher needed to further develop their reflection skills. They noted that the pre-service teachers often did not adequately reflect on their lessons and teaching practices, and were sometimes resistant to change their lesson plans in the face of observation and recommendation made by their supervising teacher. So yun daw yung findings ng research. Parang nakita nila na yung ibang mga practice hindi naman sila nagre-reflect. Okay, nagbabase lang sila dun sa mga observation. And then, the teacher agreed that reflection was necessary in order to teach from values-based perspective. Kasi yung research is all about the values-based perspective. And that the practice of reflection enhanced their teaching. So, the teachers argue that reflection is a fundamental part of the values-based education, and pre-service teachers must be taught how to reflect effectively. In addition, teachers noted that students must engage in reflection to develop their own values, and it is therefore integral that teachers model engaging in this practice. The teachers suggested that reflection should be taught to pre-service teachers throughout their entire education program and should be a fundamental part of their assessment. Okay, so yan yung suggestion dun sa research. 'Di ba? Nagsisimula pa lang kayo nung yung peer pick, 'di ba? Ito na parang nire-recommend na talagang dapat meron talaga na ganung programa. Okay, in conclusion, the teacher in the present study provided an insider's perspective of what pre-service teachers need to know in order to be effective at values-based education. The teacher suggests that being a reflective practitioner is important for a number of reasons, including the modeling teachers express in the classroom, consistency between spoken ideals and behavior, the ability to respond sensitively and compassionately to their students and their ability to engage students in meaningful and thought-provoking learning experience. This findings support current literature that advocate pre-service teacher becoming reflective practitioners. Okay, so 'di ba? Ang ganda ng research kasi talagang it insists that you as a pre-service teacher should be a reflective practitioners. Okay, next slide. Next slide po. Okay. Now, aside from valuing, no, valuing reflective practice, we should also value our own values, reflecting on own values. Okay, aside from knowing what to do on how we are going to do reflection, we should know first ano ba yung value ng pre-service teacher. Ano bang values nating mga teachers? The teacher felt that while pre-service teachers should reflect on aspect of their teaching, they must also be taught to reflect on their own values and the ways in which this impact on their teaching practices. Ma'am, pabalik po ng slide. Okay, yung pong isa pong slide. Okay, so going back to reflecting on your own values, okay, on your own values. So, is the teacher felt that while pre-service teachers should reflect on aspect of their teaching, they must also be taught to reflect on their own values and the ways in which this impact on their teaching practices and pedagogy. So, one teacher noted, you have to start become aware of your own values. So dapat alam din natin kung ano yung ating values, okay? And as well as reflecting with peers and colleagues, no? So the teachers identified that in their own journey of undertaking values-based education, they had learned an enormous amount about their own teaching and their own values through engaging in discussion with other teachers. The more you get teachers sharing their own experiences and teachers learning and participating in professional development and talking about sometimes their own values begin to change or they begin to be really able to articulate their values. And this comes through in their teaching. Kaya maganda rin yung nagsishare tayo ng mga different values. Nagsishare tayo ng mga professional ideas, no? Because we can adapt, no? We can adapt other things from our peers and colleagues. Okay? So maganda yon. Aside from reflecting in our own values, we should also reflect on our peers and colleagues' values. Okay? Next slide. Because according to John Dewey, no? Okay, si John Dewey, when reflecting practice is part of the learning, it creates meaning and relevancy from these experiences and initiate further growth and change. Reflection has become a key tenet of experiential education philosophy. Okay? So kung babalikan natin yung theory ni John Dewey kasi experiential theory, learning theory meron siya. So he said this one that reflective practice is really important, no? It's really a paramount for the learning process because it's create that relevance, no? It creates that meaning in the experiences for the growth and development of an individual. Okay? And then according to John Dewey pa rin, si John Dewey pa rin yung nagsabi, reflection creates multiple pathways to learning, facilitates patterning and meaning making. Well-facilitated reflection provides a forum for learners to give and receive feedback and enhances application, transfer, retention, and recall. Okay. So, si John Dewey pa rin yung nagsabi niyan. Now, tanong natin, okay? So, how about reflecting in the new normal? Okay? Kasi kayo yung nandito ngayon sa era or sa time na we experience pandemic. Kaming mga teacher ay talagang we are in the period of struggling on those kind of learning modalities and of course you who will be soon be teachers, hanggang kailan ba natin may experience itong new normal? I have read in education student, ito kasi yung I have read in the news, no, when education students attend pre-service teachers forum on the new normal in teachers education. Okay, so it was last May 26, 2020. Ito yung sinabi nila, that the press service teachers were able to clarify their concern, such as but not limited to internet connectivity issues, accessibility issues, a surface level of discussion of important content, and student anxiety and mental health issues amid this global pandemic, and delivery of the experiential learning courses, which include field study courses and student teaching internship. Deans and faculty members, in return, gave their assurances and stated their plans as to how they will try to implement changes that would make learning still viable, especially during the period of new normal. They also shared how they will adjust in time like this, as well as the platform and modalities their institutions had been implementing since the start of the enhanced community quarantine last March 2020. Okay, so 'di ba, when we reflect on that setup in the new normal. Okay, so part pa rin ng reflection natin 'yan, 'di ba? So hindi na yung routine, hindi na yung the same uh, sabihin natin na routine na nangyayari sa atin noong wala pang pandemic. So nabago. Okay, may mga ganito ng mga aspeto. So paano kaya natin 'yan i-reflect, no? Aside from reflecting on the values that we have, on how we deal with this teaching and learning ideas na ini-inculcate sa inyo through your different subjects. Okay? Kaya gusto kong balikan pa rin tong teaching to change the world, and then it does. Kasi babalik at babalik pa rin tayo dun sa teaching. Okay? Next slide. Yan. Okay? So, the experiences of these pre-service teachers will leave an indelible mark on their career as they survive and thrive as active learners during pandemic, strengthening their voices of advocacy and justice for service in an inequitable world. The emotional resilience and hardiness demonstrated by the pre-service students provide hope for our future generation of teachers who need to disrupt the status quo and teach to change the world. Yan, 'di ba? So, kayo 'yan eh. Kayo ito. Kayo yung voices of that advocacy of justice na nandito kayo sa mundo ng pandemic. But you are all survivor, no? Nakaka-survive kayo because you have that vision, no? Nandun pa rin kayo dun sa mission ninyo na you are going to teach whatever situation in the world we have. Okay? Next slide. The teacher who accepts the call to be an advocate for those in need and take steps to inform and intercede on behalf of those who often have no voice. It is my mission, according to the author, and it fills me with joy to see our future teachers embrace and identify with ideals and beliefs that require more than just words, that they see themselves and the profession as something that is integral to the social justice movement. For me, it is the recognition that education is an act of liberation and that the responsibility lies with me. We, the teachers, the faculty, the professors, no, the responsibility to act, engage, and model for our candidates all things that we know make a difference in the lives of the students. Okay? That's why, next slide po. So, We do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience. Lahat ng bagay po na diniscuss ko is for us to be reflect on. Okay? So, isasama po natin ang sitwasyon na meron tayo. But we are still in one, that you will be developed, that you will be equipped with those standards, with those professionalism, with those values, enhancement of values, so that you will be ready to face um, the teaching profession, even we are still in the pandemic time. Okay, and my last slide, the more we reflected, no, the more reflective you are, the more effective you are. By Hall and Simmeron. Okay, so thank you for listening.
Okay, so thank you so much, Ma'am Maida Sarmiento, for a very comprehensive and fruitful presentation of the topic. It is indeed that teaching is a vocation, a mission, and a noble profession. Okay, so it is very essential that we as teachers must reflect on our own teaching and learning for us to know if we are effective in giving our instruction, and also to assess if we need to modify our teaching strategies and methods. Okay, surely our students learned new ideas, tips, and strategies from Mamay de Sarmiento that they can use in the field of teaching. Once again, thank you so much, Mamay de Sarmiento. Okay, so without further much ado, we will proceed to the next topic. Okay, but before that, after the talk of the second speaker, we will have our open forum for the Q&A portion. Okay, so be ready with your questions and concerns. Okay, our dear participants and viewers. Okay. Now, for the second lecturer, so since Ma'am Jessica Roque will not be able to join, okay, again, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our second resource speaker for today's webinar. She is a doctor of education, major in educational management, a former director of international and local affairs, LSPU Santa Cruz campus, and now the dean of the College of Teacher Education, LSPU Santa Cruz campus. May I call on Dr. Florhaida V. Pamatmat to discuss the topic on effective written and oral communication skill.
Good evening. Kanina good afternoon pa pero ngayon good evening na. Good
Good
evening
evening
sa
po,
lahat.
Dean.
So, I am privileged to talk about effective oral and written communications, especially because that in the future, in the near future, all of you will become pre-service teachers. And we are promoting peer peak because this, after it is being developed, this manual will be distributed to all the pre-service teachers, and this will be one of the measurements of your effectiveness as pre-service teachers. So I hope that from tonight and in the series of seminars, you will be able to ano ba yun, to be aware, become aware of what peer peak is all about. Now, my task for this evening is to discuss a brief only about the significance of effective communication skill for teachers. Because having effective I'm sorry, good communication skills is one of the significant qualities, characteristics of a good teacher. So, dapat lahat yan ma-internalize ninyo, maisip ninyo that from now on, you need to develop a good communication skill. Kailangan nagpa-practice talaga kayo because this is a must. Especially that only the subject Filipino is being taught in Filipino. Yun ang pagkaalam ko. I just don't know if there are other subjects na itinuturo natin in Filipino. But even if there are teachers who are Filipino majors, dapat marunong pa rin sila sa English. At kayo din as future elementary teachers or future teachers kung meron man dyang mga BS-Ed, BE-Ed, BPED, BTLED, BTVTED, dapat kayong lahat ay you have good communication skill. Okay, next slide please. So, the 21st century has many challenges for all of us, including, of course, the pandemic of COVID-19. Kita nyo naman, nagsimula ang lahat noong March 15 or March 5 ba, 2020, and more or less, it's over a year by now. But on top of that, we are all challenged with the new education system. It changed a lot. Ang dating face-to-face, naging flexible learning na ngayon. As well as communication system, na dati nakakapag-usap tayo in front of each other, but this time, it's all online. Most of the communication system, lahat online. Nakikipag-usap tayo sa mga kaibigan natin, sa ating mga professors, even to our mga administrators, friends, relatives, lahat online na ngayon. Hence, not all of us are experts already. This is why we're trying to cope with it, step by step until we become adapted to it. Kailangang matutunan natin at kailangang masanay tayo sa ganitong sistema. For you, future teachers, this is something you have to prepare for. Dapat ninyo itong paghandaan because since 2020, worldwide na tayo. Hindi na tayo local, kundi tayo ay global. So let's move on to the top 10 skills for the 21st century professionals. And when you become teachers, you are considered as professionals. The first one, next slide please, is critical thinking. So in critical thinking, you need to develop this skill very much. When you are given a certain information, you need to go out of the box. So ayun, pagka kayo ay binigyan ng isang, for example, topic or information or anything na kailangan ninyong pag-isipan, you have to skillfully conceptualize, to apply, to analyze, to synthesize, and evaluate information. That's what I heard also from Ma'am Maida kanina. Kailangan pag-iisipan natin. We need to evaluate kung ano yung information na ibinibigay sa atin. We need to think about it. Bakit nagkaganon? Bakit kaya ganito ito? So, we need to have reasoning power. We need to solve problems. We need to make decisions. And to conglomerate everything, kailangan natin ng critical thinking skills. So, ayan, as future teachers, importante yan para sa inyong lahat. At kami, maniwala kayo, we need to have this. In all endeavors we are doing as teachers, pinag-iisipan namin lahat. And we are trying to become adapted kung ano ang kailangan natin ngayon sa new normal. Nakikisabay kami. Kahit ako, I'm already, malapit na ako mag-senior, pero I'm still adapting myself, no? And I am applying critical thinking skill. Okay, next slide. Another important skill is leadership skill. So, in leadership skill, motivation is the powerful word. Kailangan marunong tayong mag-motivate. Yan talaga yung number one na asset or qualification ng isang leader. It's something like when you give an opinion, instruction, or supervision sa inyong mga colleagues, the people around you will be motivated. Hindi yung parang napipilitan silang sumunod sa inyo, kung hindi dapat na-motivate sila to go with you, to cooperate, to join the team, na to follow for a common objective. So, yan yung skill ng isang leader. And whether you're a student, a teacher, or in any management position, or you are leading a project, leadership skills require you to motivate others to complete a series of tasks. So, yan. So, ayan, tandaan sana ninyo, no? Isa-isa yan. Sana ma-develop ninyo to by and by. Maalala ninyo ako when you are trying to develop your skill, yourself into these various skills in the 21st century. Next slide. So the next one is collaboration. So collaboration means working as a team. Dapat if you're a member of any organization, you are able to be a team player. Especially if you are aiming to be an effective future teacher. Ngayon pa lang, dapat team player kayo. This is the time to train yourselves and develop the skill of being collaborative or cooperative. Kailangan ninyo itong pag-aralan, even if we are in, ano ba yan, mga online system, kailangan nakiki-cooperate kayo. When you are given a task by any of your teachers, work as a team. Hindi yung, o ikaw na bahala dyan, gawin mo na yan. It's not like that. Because when you become a teacher, as I have said a while ago, you should be a team player. Just like today, just like tonight, alam nyo ba yung technical working group, they exerted so much effort to make this first series a success. Nakita ko sa aming group chat kung paano sila nagtatrabaho. They are really commendable. I really appreciate what they have done to make this event successful. Next slide. So another skill is adaptability. So baka magtaka kayo kasi ang topic ko is oral and written communication. We will come to that later. Gusto ko muna na isa-isahin sa inyo ang mga top 10 skills na dapat meron kayo as 21st century teachers in 2 or 3 years. So the next one is adaptability. Adaptability is a skill, no? It's a soft skill that you need to possess, that should be developed by teachers. You need to respond positively to the changing circumstances. Ang daming nagbabago. Mamaya pwede nang pumunta sa university ng face-to-face. Mamaya sasabihin, postpone ang mga activities. Postpone ang face-to-face. So, mamaya sabihin webinar. Pagkatapos, ano na lang, modular. So, nagbabago ang lahat, but we need to be adaptable. It's a soft skill that means being able to rapidly learn a new skill and behavior. You are able to adapt yourselves to any kind of circumstances or situations. Importante yan. Kami nga, nag-aral, nagsimula kaming mag-train for Google Classroom, for synchronous, for asynchronous, nagawa kami ng mga modules, and then meron kaming mga sinusunod na mga policies, guidelines, and we're trying to adapt talaga in the new normal. Kasi ang sabi, hindi na talaga babalik ang old normal. Talagang new normal na tayo. Wala na tayong magagawa. So, we need to develop this kind of skill. Being adaptable or adaptability. Next slide. The next one is innovation. It's also a skill like any other. Being innovative is useful in everyday life to help to grow and develop under varied situations and circumstances. So, It's useful in everyday life. It's helping us to grow and develop in new situations. Para bang kailangan araw-araw, we have to think of something new. Katulad nito, I admit, ngayon lang ako nakasali sa ganitong live streaming and it's a new experience for me. I feel as if, na ako, naka-innovate ako ng bagong skill ngayon. May natutunan akong bago ngayong araw na to. And I so much appreciate this opportunity to be a part of this live stream series. Okay, next slide. So ayan, global citizenship. Ngayon, global citizens na ang tawag sa atin, is someone who is aware and understands the wider world and their place in it. We all need to be global citizens, therefore we need to become aware of world events. Pero dapat we also need to become involved in our own community activities. So tayo, in our case, we need to be involved in our university activities. Kailangan wag tayong mahuhuli, sa mga nangyayari within our community, within our homes, within our university, classrooms, within our group or any organization. And then we also need to be global citizens na nakakaintindi, aware sa mga global events. Dapat hindi rin tayo mahuhuli. So, kailangan nating matutunan ang mga bagay-bagay, what's happening in that country, what's new in that country. So, we also need to, of course, being aware of what is going on within our own country. O ano ba? Payag ba tayo ngayon na magpa-vaccine? Marami ba sa atin ang they say yes for this vaccination, or tayo yung ayoko niyan kasi natatakot ako. If we want to become global citizens, dapat go tayo. Whatever it takes. Kung ano man ang mga maging repercussions or mga outcomes, dapat kasali tayo, awareness is very important as a global citizen. Okay, next slide. So, ito naman, productivity and accountability, dapat talaga meron din kayong skill na ganyan. Being productive means being able to produce something and being accountable for for the actions or for the outcome na kung ano man ang mangyayari. As 21st century teachers, we should be productive. Dapat lagi tayong on the go while thinking about accountability. Siyempre, kailangan kung meron tayong ginawang action, accountable tayo doon. Remember that we are accountable for whatever we do. So kayo, kung kayo gumawa ng mga assignments nyo, you try to help yourselves, okay. Pero kung hindi rin at tinamad kayo, or yung parang adamant, parang ayoko niyan, o accountable kayo, dapat alam nyo na pag hindi ko to ginawa, bababa ang grade ko or baka ma-incomplete ako. So, yon. We must be productive. Ang ibig sabihin ng productivity, dapat palagi kang open for changes, open for new learning. And then, accountable ka din. Kung meron ka mga decisions na ginawa or naisip, accountable ka dapat kung ano man yung ginawa mo. Kumbaga, in Tagalog, paninindigan mo yon. Yan ang mga skills ng 21st century professionals. Next slide. So ito maganda to yung entrepreneurialism. It's the ability to start new businesses, especially when this involves seeing new opportunities to make money. Syempre naman, we're not doing anything or everything out of nothing. Kailangan alam natin na, ayan, meron ako dyang mga kakilala na They know how to make money. Meron dyan akong isang kilala na she's earning a living out of her ano ba to, yung talent. Ayan. So, teachers are also entrepreneurs. Kung marunong kang manahi ka. Kung marunong kang mag-manicure, mag-manicure ka. Kung marunong kang mag-bake ka. Kung marunong ka ng electrical, okay, go ahead. Kung magaling ka sa editing, magaling ka sa grammar, go for it. Mag-edit ka ng mga researches, ng thesis. So there are many opportunities for earning money, no? We need to seek all opportunities so that we will be able to provide for a quality life. Hindi tayo gusto lang nating magkapera. What we are aiming is to have quality life. Yung maginhawa pakiramdam natin, hindi yung parang hirap na hirap tayo. Kaya nga tayo nag-aaral para tayo ay matuto, para in the future, we earn a living. But on top of that, we have to be entrepreneurs as well. Next slide, please. So, this is also about being flexible, accessing and synthesizing information. This is the way that students can take information from multiple sources and bring the information together. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Kailangan we are able to gather mga resources, kung saan-saan yung binasa natin, and then pwede natin silang pagsamasamahin. And we are able to understand what we are doing. As 21st century teachers, we must be experts in accessing and synthesizing information. Pag binigyan tayo ng isang gagawin, let us be creative. Hindi yung kung ano lang yung sinabi ng teacher, yun na lang yung gagawin natin. We can innovate. We can do something better. Kung ito ang ginawa ng mga classmates nyo, ito naman yung gagawin ko. Because I want to be different. Yun yung ibig kong sabihin dito. We need to continuously learn, getting new ideas, theories, and information. And then application. Yun. Kailangan i-apply natin kung ano yung nakikita natin na mas maganda. Hindi yung, maganda pala yun, pero wala naman tayong ginawa. No? So, putting everything, putting knowledge, putting learning into action. Next slide, please. Okay, eto na tayo sa communication skill. So ito, magkasama na to both oral and written communication skill. Because communication skill is also one of the 10 top skills of the 21st century professionals. Inihuli ko lang siya. So, communication skill is important for a teacher in the delivery of education to students. This is a significant skill, especially for teachers. Sabi nga, words have power. Ayan, dyan sa aking slide na yan. Because we need to motivate students with our powerful communication skill. So, yon. Kailangan marunong talaga tayong magsalita because good communication skill is effective in motivating and encouraging other people. No? Pag maganda kang magsalita, marami kang mamomotivate. Marami kang mai-inspire. Okay, next slide. Kaso eto naman, the consequence of poor communication can result in misunderstanding and conflict. Ayan, tingnan nyo nga, isang aso at isang pusa. So magkaiba sila ng sinabi, they did not understand each other. So communication skill is a significant skill, especially for teachers. Hence, what happens with poor communication? There might be chaos, misunderstanding, conflicts, problems may occur. So, yon. Importante na ipinapaintindi natin ng malinaw ang ating ibig sabihin. Especially when you become teachers, when you're talking with stakeholders, parents, superiors, kailangan you are very good in communication skill. You give the correct idea so that there is no room for mistakes or errors or miscommunication. Next slide. So the best way to improve teachers' communication skill is to communicate in the target language. Teachers need to develop effective oral and written communication. Kapag nagsusulat, dapat tama ang sinusulat. You should know the pattern, the template. You should know how to write legibly, accurately, concisely. So yon, dapat marunong kayo not only in oral communication but also in written communication. Especially in written communication, yan talaga, dapat walang room for mistake. Otherwise, forever na kayong makikilala na, ayan, hindi yan marunong magsulat. Nabasa ko yung ano niyan yung communication niyan and it needs editing. Yon. So hindi maganda 'yon. Pero kung ikaw naman magaling ka, mahusay kang sumulat, sasabihin sa iyo ng mga colleagues mo when you become teachers, ayan, reliable yan, bigyan mo yan ng task, pasulatin mo yan, di ka mapapahiya. So she can explain well and she has good written communication skill. And doon naman sa oral communication skill, o yan, si Miss Leron, mapipili yan na MC, si Mamaida. Kasi mahuhusay yan ano yan, they speak well. They are good in the language, the second language. So ayan ang sabi sa atin, talk, gamitin daw natin, magsalita tayo, read, because reading will help us learn many things. And then of course, write. But write correctly, legibly, at yung mga sinabi ko pa kanina. Kasi importante talaga, marunong ka magsalita, marunong ka ring sumulat. And to tell you frankly, being able to communicate in written form is not as easy as talking. Mas madali magsalita kaysa sa magsulat. Because when you are writing, you still have to conceptualize. Dapat tama yung paghahanay mo ng mga salita sa pagsulat. When in speaking, sometimes nakakalampas sa pandinig ng mga tao, even if you sometimes commit mga little errors, no? Kasi yung daw error, unconsciously nagkamali tayo. Pero yung mistakes, parang every time, yun ang ginagamit mo, hindi mo na makorek ang iyong mga errors, no? So I hope that as teachers, you know how to check your errors in oral and written communication because makikilala kanila for what you are in oral and written communication. So, the best way, fundamental to teachers and student success is the teacher's ability to communicate effectively with students, parents, and colleagues. Now, ayan, maraming challenges for becoming a future teacher. So, hindi ka lang pala basta magtuturo. Hindi ka lang basta magpe-prepare ng iyong mga lessons. But more importantly, you should have good communication skill. Why? Because you are encountering a lot of different, unique people every day. Now, kasi ang communication skill hindi ibig sabihin na you are good at speaking in English. No, it's not like that. Good communication skill is being able to make someone understand what you want to say. Yun ang ibig sabihin. So, I hope na I am able to motivate you and to make you realize that it is very significant if you are good in oral and written communication. This is basic towards achieving students' academic success as well as your own professional success in life. Na? It's good if we can develop our students, but more so, it's better or effective if we will be able to develop ourselves. Next slide. So ito, last slide ko na to. Let's explore some benefits of effective communication in and outside your classrooms or homes. Kahit sa bahay, importante rin na you communicate well with your parents, your siblings, your relatives, and everyone else when you take the time to nurture these skills. Number one, you build trust. Pinagtitiwalaan ka if you communicate well. We prevent or resolve problems, hindi na dadagdagan. Ibig sabihin, napiprevent pa natin because prevention is even better than cure. So, dapat hindi na tayo ang nagiging cause ng mga conflict, ano? Yun, if you are good in communication, you are able to prevent and resolve problems. Provide clarity and direction. So, if you are good in communication, there is clarity, klaro lahat. And alam natin kung paano natin ida-direct sa kung ano ang gusto nating mangyari ang ating mga colleagues or students. It increases engagement. Ibig sabihin nito, we are able to meet and to mingle with a lot of activities, a lot of relationship with different people. It improves productivity. Parang you are gaining trust and confidence from your classmates or colleagues, and it improves or it increases your productivity. Parang araw-araw may something new na nangyayari o nadadagdag sa iyong kaalaman, ano? And it promotes team building. So yan, no? Napakaraming challenges, napakarami nating dapat matutuhan as future teachers. I hope that I am able to help you uh, become aware of the importance of having good oral and written communication skills and to consider the top 10 21st century professional qualities. So I hope that tonight will be meaningful for each one of us. And once again, I would like to thank everyone for having this kind of activity or series of lecture for our BE Ed and other major students. English, Math, kung ano man kayong naandyan. Thank you, teachers. Ma'am Henley, salute sa inyong lahat. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Florhaida V. Pamatmat, for a very comprehensive and informative presentation. Okay. Marami po kami natutunan, ma'am. Kahit po, personally ako po, kahit teacher na po ako ngayon, ang dami ko pong natutunan sa inyo, ma'am. And definitely po, yung ating mga pre-service teachers, definitely marami silang nakuha, napulot sa inyo ng mga learnings na magagamit po nila in this kind of profession. Okay, and earlier, so Dr. Heidi Pamatmat discussed the top 10 skills that a 21st century teacher should possess. Okay, so just a recap: critical thinking skills, leadership skills, collaboration skills. So we should be a team player, adaptability, innovation, global citizenship, productivity and accountability, entrepreneurialism, accessing and synthesizing information, and lastly, concepts on good communication skill. And indeed, it is very vital for us teachers, especially ang ating mga pre-service teachers, that we should be good and effective when it comes to oral or written communication skills. Okay, and um, to our dear students. So, as pre-service teachers, you have to learn how to manage yourselves and become mature professional individual. Sabi nga, it takes a passion and perseverance to do one's job, especially in the field of teaching. So once again, thank you so much, Dr. Florhaida Pamatmat and Ma'am Maida Sarmiento. Okay, so now let us have our open forum. Yan. So I think may mga questions na po siguro or clarifications ng ating mga students. So this time we will entertain clarifications or questions coming from the students on the topics discussed. So our speakers are very much willingly to attend to all your questions and we will cater all your inquiries as much as we can. Okay, so may I call on Sir Joshua Orete, yeah, for to be led the open forum.
Good evening po sa ating lahat. Una-una po ay nagpapasalamat po ako sa atin pong dalawang resource speakers, kay Dr. Florida Pamatmat, na ating pong dekana, at ikalawa po ay si Ma'am Maida Sarmiento. Marami pong salamat sa inyo pong ibinahagi po sa amin, na amin pong kinapulutan ng araw. To answer your questions about our two topics that discussed by our resource speakers, we will entertain some of your questions to be answered by our Dean, Dr. Florida P. Pamatmat, together with Ms. Maida Sarmiento. So meron po tayong ilang mga questions, Dean, saka po Ma'am Maida, na atin pong itatanong po para po sa gabing po ito. So ang una po nating question ay, sa panahon po ng pandemya, paano po magpa-practice teaching ang ating mga incoming pre-service teachers? Online po ba sila o face-to-face? Marami pong salamat.
Ako ba sasagot doon?
Apo, Dean.
So, everyone, please listen carefully. Unless it is lifted, magkakaroon tayo ng face-to-face practice teaching. But these are the challenges. Sa DepEd, wala namang synchronous. No? Walang online. So, you will not be able to meet your students. So, ang sagot ko dyan, dito sa LSPU, dito na tayo mag-practice teaching hanggang wala pang face-to-face. Why? Because in LSPU, meron tayong laboratory high school, meron tayong grade 11 and grade 12. Kahit mga BE-Ed pwedeng mag-ano sa atin, mag-practice teaching sa atin. Mas gaganda pa yung practice teaching nila kasi they are treating not so young children. No? But if we are able to find mga private schools for BE-Ed para doon kayo mag-practice teaching, yung mga may online classes, hahanap kami ng mga partner schools para sa inyo. But if you wish to have it in LSPU Senior High School, then doon namin kayo dadalhin. Because I'm sure that with LSPU Senior High School teachers, you will gain so much also. You will learn a lot. Kasi kung DepEd, walang online, so modular lang. Paano nyo mamimit ang mga estudyante? Paano kayo magpa-practice? Okay?
Maraming salamat po, Dean. Ngayon po ay nalinawan po ang ating pong mga mag-aaral para po sa future po ng mga free service teachers po natin. So second question po, Dean. As the Dean of our department, do you have any tips that you can share with us in order for us to become a successful educator in the future?
To become a successful educator is all up to you. Kasi ang LSPU will lay down the table for you. We're training you, we're helping you, we're giving you all the support, tinuturuan namin kayo. If you are teachable, if you are open for changes, kung kayo ay sumusunod, and you're trying to apply sa inyong sarili, sa inyong buhay, kung ano yung natututunan ninyo sa university, then there is no question. You will become a very good teacher in the future. By and by, matututunan natin lahat yan. But first tonight, yung sinabi ni Ma'am Maida, reflection, and yung mga sinabi ko ngayon, yung good oral and written communication skill, dyan muna kayo magsimula. And then later on, matututunan ninyo lahat, marami kayong maririnig sa amin. But you know, ako kasi talagang nung nag-aaral ako, I studied late at 30 nang mag-aral ako ng bachelor's degree. Talagang ano ko yan, in-internalize ko yan. Nag-aral ako. At night, I face the mirror and talk to myself in English. Kasi ano ako matagal akong hindi nag-aral. So, kailangan kong gawin yon because I believe that practice makes perfect. Pero of course, nobody is perfect, but we're trying to become perfect. So yun, by and by, matututunan natin lahat. Hindi ko kayang sabihin lahat ngayon kasi napakarami, no?
So marami pong salamat, amin pong dekana. Tunay na sa topic pa lamang ni Dean ay meron na tayong mga tips kung paano tayo magiging successful na educator sa future. So para naman po kay Ma'am Maida Sarmiento. So Ma'am Maida, ito po ang tanong ng ating pong dear students. Bilang guro po ng DepEd, paano po kayo nagre-reflect sa inyo pong mga itinuturo sa inyo pong klase online?
Okay. So, in particular yung online class, kasi meron akong one online class. How do I reflect on it? Kasi we have a different modalities at this time. I usually read articles about etong mga modalities and kasi even the DepEd gave us inset, may mga inset, may mga training kami. Okay, but when you go to the yung implementation, mahirap kasi very ideal all the in service seminar, all those insets are too ideal to follow. But if you are in the situation, no, tapos you are facing yung setup ng mga estudyante na lalo na kung online, no, I'm talking on online na hindi naman lahat sila ay yung internet, yung malakas yung connectivity. Ang iba sa kanila naka-data lang. So you need really to consider yung many things. Ang dami mong dapat i-consider. Kaya nga na this time yung mga teachers talaga, yung yung parang consideration mo sa students talagang mas hahabaan mo, mas lalakihan mo. Because I have read dun sa isang article na at this time, we are talking about Maslow before Bloom. Okay? Kasi kinakailangan nating mai-consider yung socio-emotional factor ng mga bata. Kasi lahat tayo ay nakakaranas ng ganitong uri ng pandemya. So kung ang teacher nag-struggle, ang student nag-struggle din. So I'm always try to reflect on that thing na inilalagay ko yung aking sitwasyon sa sitwasyon ng aking mga estudyante. At this time, yung consideration naming mga teachers ay talagang ini-extend namin hanggang sa mako-consider namin, but not to compromise, of course, no, not to compromise, of course, yung learning nila. Hindi naman come to the point na i-compromise natin yon. So kino-consider din namin yan. Okay? So ganon, ako nagbabasa-basa ako, tapos yon, yung mga webinar, yung mga inset talaga kino-consider ko, kinukuha ko yung idea, and then I come to reflect on it. Kino-compare ko dun sa practice meron ako dun sa situation. Okay, so yun lang.
Marami pong salamat, Ma'am Maida. And para po sa last question po ay, dahil po ngayon ay online class, meron pa rin pong relationship dun sa unang question. How do you know when your students have already accomplished your objectives in class, lalo na po ngayong online class?
Okay, I'm going to make some addition, no? Ako kasi, I've come to realize how important the feedbacking mechanism. No, yung feedbacking mechanism coming from the teachers na yung halimbawa gumawa yung bata kasi tayo pag nasa Google class tapos magsasubmit sila tapos hindi agad natin nabibigay yung feedback, they are waiting for that. Ay kasi dun din magkakaroon ng learning eh. Dun mo dapat ngayon kasi yung feedback natin very immediate. Every assessment that we have to our student, dapat yung assessment, mabilis nating maibibigay sa kanila kasi doon sila natututo. Doon nila nakikita kung saan ba sila nagkamali, ano yung kulang nila. So, yun yung na-realize ko kasi sa dami ng, sa dami ng load namin sa DepEd, no? Minsan nakakalimutan namin. But when I ask some student, no, sabi ko, ano ba yung ano nyo? I ask them some evaluation. Lumabas yon, sabi nila, ma'am, yung pong feedbacking. And then I look for some ano ng feedbacking mechanism. Sabi ko, ay oo nga. It's ano, yun yung isang mahalaga sa online ngayon. Or even modular, pwede rin yung mga feedbacking, yung agad nating naibabalik yung mga requirements, yung mga tinrabaho ng mga bata kasi inaantay nila yon. Okay? So, yun lang yung additional ko dun sa ano mo. Thank you.
Marami pong salamat, Dr. Florida Pamatmat at Ma'am Maida Sarmiento sa pag-entertain po ng ilang mga katanungan po ng ating pong mga estudyante. So, tunay po na kami po ay mayroong at maraming napulot na aral para po sa ating webinar series dahil ginamit po kayo ng Diyos para po sa araw po ito. Yun lamang po at once again, magandang gabi po sa ating lahat.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Joshua Orete. And thank you din for Haida Pamatmat and Mamayda Sarmiento. Tunay nga po yung sinabi ng Sir Joshua na dalawa pa lang ang resource speakers for today's webinar ay punong-puno na po ng kaalaman. Ang mga students po natin, even as po teachers, ang dami po naming napulot both po sa inyo, Dean and Mamayda Sarmiento. Okay, so this time, let's proceed with the awarding of certificates. Now, may I call on Dr. Henry Martirez to award the certificate to our resource speakers.
Certificate of recognition is hereby awarded in recognition for her incomparable contribution as resource speaker during the webinar on values for K-12 pre-service teacher, Peer Peak, a lecture series held on March 19, 2021 at Laguna State Polytechnic University Santa Cruz Campus, Santa Cruz, Laguna. Given this 19th day of March 2021 at the Laguna State Polytechnic University, Santa Cruz Campus, Santa Cruz, Laguna, we were hereby awarded to Dr. Florida V. Tomatmat. Another certificate of recognition is hereby awarded to Ma'am Maida Sarmiento. Signed by our Dean of College of Teacher Education, Florida B. Tomatmat, and your BEd Program Coordinator, your student. Thank you.
Okay, so once again, thank you, Dr. Henley F. Martirez, Dr. Florida V. Pamatmat, and Ma'am Maida Sarmiento. Okay, so malapit na po tayong matapos. But before that, so before we end this webinar, I would like to remind our participants that this webinar is a series. Okay, so it consists of 4 learning episodes. For the next episode, it will be held on March 27, 2021. That will be next week, Saturday at 3 to 5 p.m. So please stay tuned and keep updated for the link. And special thanks to the technical team of this webinar and the rest of the BEd faculty of both LSPU Santa Cruz Main Campus and Liliu Extension Campus. And also, we would like to acknowledge the participation of BEd students and also the other courses, BT-led and BT-VTED, for joining this episode 1, okay, of LSPU Santa Cruz Campus and LSPU Liliu Extension, okay, the BEd faculty for making this webinar a success. Okay, so to officially end this webinar, may I call on Dr. Evelyn Balaoro, CTE Faculty, Santa Cruz Campus, for her closing remarks.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat at sa mga binubuo po ng ating webinar na Values for Pre-Service Teachers lecture series. So, kay Dr. Henry Materes na siya po ang namuno para po magkaroon po tayo ng ganitong webinar. Ako po ay nagpapasalamat sa kanya at isa po ito sa malaking activity ng College of Teacher Education. Hindi lamang po si Ma'am Hendy, kundi po ang lahat ng tumulong po sa kanya para po magkaroon po tayo ng ganitong lecture series. And at the same time, sana po itong ating po activity na to ay hindi lamang po ngayon, kundi sana po marami pa pong sumunod na mga activity. Actually, ito po ay isa sa mga ginawa niya para maging makabuluhan po ang College of Teacher Education. And at the same time, itong Values for Pre-Service Teacher ay isang napakahalagang webinar kasi tinutukoy dito po ang mga kahalagahan ng pagtuturo, lalo po at ito po isinangkapan ng values. So ibig sabihin, lahat po ng mga teachers na nagbigay po nito o nakakuha ng ganitong mga seminaryo, ibig sabihin ay talaga pong magiging isa na kumbaga pundasyon ng mga teacher, ano? Lalo-lalo pa na kailangan po natin ngayon ng mga ganitong values based service teacher kasi nga po itong pandemya ay hindi po talaga parang isang one click lang na maaalis ka agad sa Pilipinas, kundi itong mga ganitong value seminars talaga po ay makakatulong lalo-lalo na sa ating profesyon bilang isang guro. So muli po at sa aking mga kasama sa College of Teacher Education, sa mga tao na tumulong para ito po ay maisakatuparan, ako po ay labis-labis na nagpapasalamat at ganun din po kay Ma'am Henley sapagkat ako'y isinama niya sa ganitong aktibidades. At muli po ay kanina nga po nasabi ko na hindi lamang po ito una, kundi ito po ay magtuloy-tuloy na aktibidades ng College of Teacher Education. So, nagpapasalamat po talaga ako sa lahat ng ating mga kasama. Muli po, sana po ay sabi nga first impression, it is last. Okay, thank you po.
Thank you so much, Dr. Evelyn Balaoro, for the words of encouragement, the words of recognition and appreciation. And once again, thank you to all the participants of this webinar, especially for this episode 1 on values for K-12 pre-service teachers, a lecture series. Ayan, so sabi ko nga kanina, dalawa pa lang yung episode natin, dalawang topic pa lang yung nape-present natin, punong-puno na ng kaalaman and mga new learnings na talagang magagamit ng ating mga pre-service teachers. Okay, so this is it. Ayan. Thank you everyone for staying. Thank you to our dear participants, our students, faculty for staying until the end of this webinar episode 1. So till our next meeting or till our next episode, good day and God bless everyone. Okay.